We're moving on to wide receivers. We got 3 more guys to get through. So wide receivers, Demarcus Robinson, out of nowhere. Actually, not out of nowhere because he's been pretty good since week 13. He has been in the fantasy playoffs wide receiver 12 since it started, but since week 13, he's been wide receiver 10. Under the radar kind of guy, a guy you don't really expect or to start on your. I have not seen one person say, I started Demarcus Robinson this week, the week before, the week before, the week before. Haven't seen it. Only rostered in 10% of the leagues. But the guy is getting 24 targets in that time, 15 catches, 227 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown every single game since week 13. That's why he's up there in the rankings. That's why. Very touchdown dependent. I don't hate him. I don't hate it. Is he worth starting this week? I don't know. They're playing the Giants. And I will say this, the Los Angeles Rams, nobody targets the wide receivers more than the Los Angeles Rams. 72.1% of all targets go to the wide receivers. No one's even in the 70 percentile range. So Matthew Stafford doesn't even look at the running backs, doesn't look at the tight ends. It's Kupp, Puka, and it was Tutu, but now it's Demarcus Robinson. I mean, he's viable. I think he's a starter.
Yeah. What did I tell you earlier this weekend? I was like, maybe it wasn't you, but I had Demarcus Robinson on my bench, of course, this weekend, and that absolutely killed me. Yeah, I can't believe I have Demarcus Robinson and Pickens on my bench in a league. I lost that league.
Demarcus Robinson has had a 90% snap share in the past 2 weeks in a row, so he is getting on the field. Before that, it was only in the mid-60s, so he is getting on the field a lot more. I think you can fire up him safely, but don't expect, like, if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's probably going to kill you. He's getting like around 5 for 60 every single game, 4 for 60 every single game, 4 for 56 at that point. Those touchdowns really boost up those numbers and really give him, it's like 50% of his points every single week. Touchdowns. So that's what I'm afraid of. Is he going to score a touchdown or not? Is he a tight end at the wide receiver position, if you get what I'm saying? You're just hoping for a touchdown. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams are starting to come in place over the last 6 weeks. They've won 5 of their games. They've only lost to Baltimore, but they've beat teams like Cleveland, Seattle, and New Orleans. They got the Giants, and it doesn't matter about San Francisco coming up, but they're playing to get into the playoffs. If they win 2 more games, they're 10-7, and that definitely gets you a playoff bid in the NFC. So spreading out that ball, they're doing what they're. I mean, since Demarcus Robinson's been playing, they've been winning. So keep that going. Now you have 3 wide receivers to throw the ball to. When the Rams went to the Super Bowl, they had wide receivers all over the field that they were throwing the ball to. Why not continue that trend? I can see Demarcus Robinson having a big game this week against the Giants.
It's so funny to think we're in a championship game, championship matchups, and we're talking about Justice Hill, Khalil Herbert, Zamir White. Like, this is what fantasy football is. A couple years ago, it was Rashad Penny. Last year, it was whoever. Like, it's never the guys.
Tyler Boyd, like a couple of years ago, was a league winner at the end of the season. Like, it's so weird. Yeah.
Look, so much emphasis, and we're going to get into it in the offseason, but so much emphasis is put on the draft. So much emphasis, so much time goes into who should I take in the first round? Who should I take in the second? Nobody ever talks about late seasons additions. Like, nobody ever brings that up in the offseason. It's always draft. When in reality, the draft does matter because it's a foundation. But I don't think it's the most important thing. But that's the most thing we focus on because, you know what? It's interesting. We could talk about it. We could have debates. No one can debate, well, I think Zamir White's really going to come on in week 15. You can't really have those debates in the offseason. But you can have debates about the draft. But yet the draft is one of the most meaningless things. It's all about start sits, trades, waiver wire additions. That's the main thing in in-season handling.
Oh, is that the 3 things that we do?
That's what do we draft? We draft the one time. We draft one time. We spend 8 months talking about the draft. Well, 8. Let's see.
And rankings
and then all of a sudden we just throw it away. It's just like you spend so much time on one day, throw it away after the draft, and then nobody talks about.
Well, and this is exactly why okay teams win championships and the really good teams don't, because they invest everything into, I need my starters to be fantastic. But then at the end of the season, TJ Hawkinson goes down, Jordan Addison goes down, Trevor Lawrence goes down, And now that your team is going, oh crap, my bench is literally a bunch of people that are projected to score me 3 points this week. I'm screwed as the number 1 seed. And yet here comes the number 6 seed coming in with a decent bench because they've been focusing they started 0-4. And then they've been building back up and building up and building up. And now they have a team that can compete in week 17.
Being comfortable is the most deadly thing you can possibly have. I have 2 number 1 seeds. I'm a number 1 seed in 2 leagues, and those teams are my worst teams. You know why? Because I was comfortable. I wasn't as aggressive on the waiver wire. I wasn't out making trades. You know why? Because my team was winning. So the teams that are scratching and crawling to get in, they are the most dangerous teams because they're the ones that are focused on the waiver wire, trading options, and they're really focused on start sits. Not all, there's some teams, but I'm just saying I'm in 26 leagues, and my dominant teams, I hardly check them because I'm dominant. My teams that I'm trying to get into the playoffs, those are actually my best teams. But anyway, back to the list. We have another guy. We have 2 more guys left. KJ Osborne, wide receiver of the Minnesota Vikings, rostered in 16%. We're bringing him up because TJ Hawkinson with that knee and Jordan Addison with that ankle. Hey, what's up, dog? There's really no one else left but KJ Osborne. He's not a special talent indeed. Matter of fact, Dirtbag Dave would call him a bum. But he did score a touchdown this week. KJ Osborne going to Green Bay. They host Green Bay. Green Bay's been bad. Green Bay's been historically bad. Not historically. I just say that because it's fun to say. But they are Green Bay just let Bryce Young, one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, go for 300 plus yards. Bryce Young has not cracked 200 yards since week 8 against Houston. Bryce had 312 against Green Bay. Green Bay let DJ Chark go for 98 and 2 touchdowns. Adam Thielen was back on his pace for 94 yards. Green Bay against last week was also awful. I can't read my own handwriting right now, but they're in shambles. They've given up 41 points to wide receivers in the past 2 weeks. Not combined, just 41 and 41. They're just letting anyone go by them. My buddy Chris Girardi, who is watching this right now, will let you know. Green Bay against Green Bay in week 8, Osborne went for 8 catches, 99 yards on 10 targets. Let's do it again, KJ Osborne. I am feeling comfortable firing him up because he is the only option left besides JJ.
I agree with you. At first, when I saw KJ Osborne on this list, I was like, oh, God, we're putting KJ Osborne on here. And I was like, oh, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. He's automatically the number 2 wide receiver on that team now, behind Justin Jefferson. And Green Bay is going to be trying to lock up Justin Jefferson. So by default, you have KJ.
Yeah. And
do they have any other players on their team? Like at this point?
The 160-pound Powell, who his only job was to push the quarterback for the tush push. The 160-pound receiver. Remember that play? Ridiculous. But KJ, this is more of an indictment on the Packers and how bad they've been in the secondary in the past 2 weeks. They just give up the booty to everyone in the past 2 weeks, which any Packers fan will tell you that. Ask Dave Stager, part of this network at Finstock Sports Network. He'll tell you. He'll 100% tell you. So KJ Osborne for me, I'm lighting him up this week if I have him, if I have to. There's actually a dynasty team I have where I roster KJ Osborne and I have Waddle. And if Waddle doesn't play, I have to file up Osborne, and I feel okay about it. I feel pretty decent about it. Nick Mullins went, 400 yards? Can I say something about that? He had 1.6 points before that Justin Jefferson touchdown, the first one. And I was jumping for joy because Dave had him. I ended up beating Dave, so it didn't matter. But when Mullins went for some 400, I was crushed. I felt, I don't even know, hurt. I didn't want to feel that. But anyway, I won, so it doesn't matter.
He had he threw 4 interceptions and still ended up as QB 11 this week.
Yeah, stupidity. And it's going to happen again against Green Bay. Green Bay is going to give up so many passing yards. I also wanted to put Mullins on this list, stream him, but he can get pulled any second. He really could. They were talking about pulling him in the first half. Everyone was screaming for this Jaren Hall guy. But I guess they stuck with Mullins. Last guy on this list, and we're going to get on out of here, Tucker Kraft, tight end. I bring him up because he has been scoring double-digit fantasy points in the past 3 weeks. If you lost TJ Hawkinson, at this point, there's no one left. Everyone's rostered. Tucker Kraft is rostered in 19% of the leagues. He is getting targeted. 4 catches in the past 3 weeks each. I'm not saying this guy's going to save your league. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and win you a league, but you're not getting McBride at this point. You're not getting God. There's this guys you're not going to get. It's it. It's over. There's no more. This is it. You need to shoot your shot. So go with the Packers, Tucker Kraft. If you did lose Hawkinson, or if you don't have a tight end that you really feel comfortable with, shot in the dark. Like I said, he's averaging 5 targets in the game in the past 3 weeks. Minnesota's not a great matchup, but they're going to need to throw it to somebody. Where they're missing Wicks now. Who knows about Christian Watson? Who knows about Jaden Reed? They really are just running out of options at this point. That's why he's a shot in the dark for me. No like research or stats behind this. No like special stat that's going to push him over the edge. It's just there's no one else. And I scoured through the Yahoo list. I scoured through Sleeper. Everyone's rostered. Every tight end's rostered. You're not going to get better right now than Tucker Kraft. But if there is someone better, feel free to pick him up, right? Feel free. But I don't think there is. It's not my leagues.
Not in my leagues either.
Yeah. I don't even feel comfortable with Tucker Kraft, but I mean,
double-digit points. I mean, that's the thing. Double-digit points going up against the Vikings.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. Follow on X and Instagram at OUSFFPOD. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.